Hello, hello. Welcome to your Mommy Moves. All right, so we're going to close out the week with a nice core activation and hip opener. So this will be a pretty quick one, okay? All right, so we're going to need a block, possibly a blanket. I'll tell you when. Let's start with a block between our knees. So come into kind of this posture so you can lay back onto your mat and then bring your shins parallel with the ceiling. Okay, so we've got our block in between our knees and we're squeezing the block. We're going to move into corkscrews. And so place your arms long at your side, palms flat on the mat, gazes up at the ceiling, and drop your knees to one side, around, and then back up. And then the opposite direction, around, and then back up. Okay, and we just do that. We're alternating sides, just like this. Squeeze the block. And if your big toes come to touch, try to keep them apart. So we're kind of staying in this look right here. So everything's kind of parallel to one another. Down and up. Squeeze the block. And then opposite direction. And so we're getting some mobility in the hips to start. And then we're definitely activating the core. We're moving into obliques, rectus abdominis, the whole shebang is getting activated here. We'll do 5 more. 5. And inhale as the block comes up. Exhale when the block goes around. Inhale to center. Exhale down and around. Inhale. Exhale down and around. Inhale down and around. So it's kind of like a fun little body teaser in a way. Last 2. Don't forget to breathe. Watch your feet. Squeeze the block. Final one here. I can see how this is a corkscrew. It's kind of like, we're just winding ourselves around and around. Okay, so that's it for that. And we are going to place the block on the flat part of our hip, so the lowest part of our back, into our kind of hip area, just before we get to the fleshy bits of our butt, right? And so that's where we are right now. We're going to drop one leg out like this. So I'm going to start with my left leg long at my side, keep my right leg bent, right foot planted. This is where the blanket might be handy if this is too much for your low back. Slide this under so that you've got kind of that support in that decline here from hip to upper back. If you don't need it, that's perfectly fine. But you're going to want to unclench the butt. You're just letting the butt be relaxed. Everything's really relaxed, but we're offering this left hip by itself to open up. If this doesn't feel supportive, add 2 blocks under you. So set them side by side. We're on the smallest height of the block. And we're just going to be here and rest and feel what that feels like. So we're opening up the hip because the hip, if you're just using one block, you're going to find that it's kind of opening up even on the side of the hip because it's getting this kind of this I don't know, I want to say 180 degree opening. Okay, and if this again is too much, remember the block and the modifications as your option. And just breathe into the areas that are just causing a little bit of hey, this hurts, or whatever's speaking to you. Breathe into it. And I typically can stay in this for some time because I just love it so much. A lot longer than 5 minutes on each side. Especially if I'm just scrolling or reading or listening to something or watching TV. This is a great thing that I could just kind of pass the time doing. For now, we're going to come up and just bend the left knee. We'll close out on this side. Slowly, gently, even take your hand, your left hand, and guide your knee to bend. And then we'll do the same on the right side. Right leg long, left knee bent, and just feel what that feels like. The leg is long, and each side's going to feel different. And you might feel different things on different parts of your body as you do this. My right foot is splayed open kind of a lot more than the left side was. So sometimes I just kind of like move it around and just see where I'm getting the deepest stretch and what my body needs today. But for the most part, you could just be still in however your leg falls, because that's kind of the point. So we're seeing what's what with our bodies. And this is where the realignment comes in, is the body's kind of we're isolating one hip to just do its thing. Okay. And then we'll bring it into alignment with both knees into the chest. So a couple more breaths here. In and out. And bend the knee. And then kind of fall to one side. Gently, slowly, delicately remove the block. Place it at your side. We don't need that anymore. And we're just going to stay like this with both knees up in the air. Feet are planted. Hips are flat onto the mat. What does that feel like? What do you feel like? What are your hips doing and how are they realigning? And is that supportive for you? So rest here. For me, I feel very much back into alignment. More so than if I did something with both hips at the same time. All right, now bring knees into chest. Really gently, really softly and slowly. We don't want to take anything, we don't want to dislodge anything. That's a really bad word. That's a scary word. But it's true. I mean, this postnatal, postpartum period, if you've got littles under 5, you're still in it. And it's such a delicate time that however you're handling your recovery, it says a lot about how the next 10 years will be. Because if your recovery isn't met with nutrition and mental health and physical well-being, all those things, then you're going to find that you might have hormonal, emotional, physical trauma that lasts at least 10 years after delivery. It's that serious. So these mommy moves are just meant to love on you, love on your body, take the time with yourself, see what you need. And it's part of your physical recovery very much. It's definitely part of your mental recovery is my goal for these mommy moves. All right, so we've got a nice little realignment stretch here, an opening of the low back. Let's just go side to side. Side to side, maybe rock the knees around, bring back that corkscrew that we were doing earlier. Mobilizing the hips, getting them ready for action. Hands behind your thighs, rock and roll up to a seat. And we're done. Peace. Love you guys. Thanks for coming on live.